So here we have these two guitars. At the right, the natural color one is an economic model 1928, and at the left is the 29W top model. This guitar here, which is very high-end guitar, check it out. What precision does it have in the bridge? The accuracy of the division of the strings and how it's made. Now I wanted to notice that when compared to the equal quality and precision that this guitar, the economic model 28, has, in the case that this guitar is a lot less expensive than the other one, but the quality of the work is same. Then when we observe inside, what there is inside, I have to show you, because inside is the sound is there, so it's very relevant for us. This one, with the liberated top, and this beautiful transversal bar, then the bars, right? This. Now, that, when we compare it to the work on the economic model one, we can observe that it also has a high quality work inside. Inside of the guitars, nobody talks about almost, but this is the most important thing actually, because that is what creates the sound, right? This is the inside of this. Even the top, for instance, you know, that's why this is difficult to know which guitar is good or which one not. It takes a life to know that. For a layman, it's same like asking a normal person to do his own dental work. It's not going to happen, but between these two, this is many times more expensive than that. Check the top of both. Apparently, someone would say, well, this is so clean. Check it out, the grain, how tight it is, and how clean is this top, really speaking. While on this here, we can see two stains, darker stains there. And yet, because of aging of the wood, this top is more than 25 years aged, while this one is just 5 or 6 years aged. So for the quality of this is much superior than that. So in the woods, there is a difference, details like that, because this wood is very dry and nicely treated, aged, very aged. Although this guitar here is a very nice set also of wood, and it's very, very nicely made. And the small details are there, like for instance, this is just the regular machine head for the economic guitar. Right? And this, of course, has a black pearl machine head, which is very fancy. Right? Because the machine heads cost probably half of that guitar. Right? But if you see the work, also around the 0 fret, and how this is settled, the fretboard, for instance, this advantage that AG has of this part. Let me see if I can show you like this part here, which has that protection for the wood. There, look, here you can see the detail. And also is there in the economic model. Here you see. So, really speaking, just like there is Rolex of diamonds and gold, and there is another just plain metal Rolex without any diamonds, that's that. It's a Rolex too. So quality has to be there. No brand has this aspect here. No one will dare to compare what's the inside of both, because it's just a matter of so-called sense between this relationship of quality and price, which is a total fallacy, because there is not such a thing. Price is one thing and quality is another. When the guitar has quality, it doesn't matter if it is expensive or inexpensive. And when the guitar is bad, meaning it doesn't tune or has some problem, it doesn't matter if it is expensive or not, right? So quality is another thing, very different. And to appreciate that, we need knowledge, and that takes time, or ideally a good-hearted advice from experts. And that's how I learned about this. A very interesting topic, this one here. This one has the characteristic of, well, you know, Simplicio is the genius who invented this and envisioned the idea of having two ports instead of the central sound hole. It's my school of making. But not only, later on it came the idea that because of the shape which has the Simplicio, one that he made previously, the first model, which has a D shape, symmetric D shape in both sides. That one there was too symmetric. So the idea was that because if the shape of the ports will alter the sound, and also the size of each port. For instance, here we have much bigger the treble. That also considering the lateral sound port, which gives this surrounding effect. But really speaking, I don't understand that this looks a bit weird, but believe me, it's the best positional thing for the guitar. Also, on the D shape, I also love that, but this here is really dynamic, because not only this, in this case, generally this sound port was around here, so it was asymmetric, but not that much. Like now it's very much lower. So then that you see the sound is just expanding in a very different dynamic because of that. Because this ones, if you observe, go this way. Coming out here, so this is aligned also in a certain way. It's not just to put it low or anything, but actually this difference between trebles and basses is also there in the bridge. Because if you observe these two wings are different, right? Here this is shorter and thicker, right? And this is larger and thinner. So it's all about balancing these two aspects, because we have for 6 strings the bordones, bass, and also the treble. So the treble side, this is more difficult to get quality. Any guitar, well, the test Paco said, if it has bass, this is one thing, or loud sound, but if it has quality on the trebles, then that's a great guitar. This top is tuned in G sharp, which gives, consequently, no guitar is completely strong at every point or in every key, because the top has to be tuned in one key, right? This is according also to how it reflects the sound on the back, because the guitar sounds from inside out, right? So this, what is here, you also listen to the whole spectrum. Therefore, because this is the G sharp, so if I play all this key, strongest point, so to say. Right. All that is related. If you know how the harmonics work, you will see, for instance, well, generally the fifths will work very precisely. The guitar will be in its peak of harmonic delivery, the projection of the sound. Quality is amazing, and the tuning is just... If there were, it would be only one guitar that you can take, let's say, end of the world situation, let's say, hopefully doesn't happen, but not yet. But if it were the case, and I suppose I can take only one guitar, it was this one, I'm perfectly happy, because it has everything, right? Now, of course, this is a very challenging thing, because this port, if it was a little bit below, then it will be close to the zone that in which the center sample is of the Madrid school. But this, in this case here, because if you observe what it has inside, how the bars are distributed, the liberated top creates certain effect with this bar, and then this other one, diagonal, from which the bars happen to go traversing the thing in between. So apart from the fact that even the gluing of the order of gluing the bars, and not just which bars and which sizes. Here inside there are these bars, but there is a password. It's as difficult as cracking a password of 6 digits to know this thing. Because if you start gluing, say, suppose if this order will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to say, if Luthier starts gluing this point, it will create an effect different than if he starts doing it on the treble side. You see, because the longitudinal strength of the top changes, and also, of course, the very flexibility of the guitar, which has to be calculated, because when it will have the strings on, then that will be what will make the difference or not. Because that's why there are guitars of good quality, of bad quality, of decent quality, of good quality, of very good quality, of excellent quality, and ultra high quality, right? And this Simplicio thing is just because it's the economic model of Simplicio, which is 1200 notes only, and it's incredible that such a quality of instrument can be acquired after 20 years. It took so much time. And they make very few. The bad thing is that they make very few, because of course the customers are for the level of instruments. But although this is not a high-end guitar, it has very good quality, and measurement like is also very practical. But to record in the studio, this is ideal. You don't know how many ways of microphone placement you can use, play with these factors. here, which in the flat, in the center sample guitar, it's just unidirectional. It can never have this wide spectrum of color. The resonance, it gives it's just too much powerful, and of course sustain-like also. Because I have just the most common camera to record these things, I don't know if it's possible to notice this, but actually it's worth to notice that this guitar, when we hit this fifth, I just tune properly because I just hear this ninth, the harmonic of the ninth, which is difficult to get in any guitar, no matter how expensive it is, but this guitar has that, look. If you observe it, this note was there. Look. Okay. This is a very hidden harmonic. And so these are many details which are very specific, and therefore this is not such a just ordinary guitar, right? Of course, it is by how it looks, it's very special, and also it's very percussive, the top. So it's ideal for flamenco. Measurements, everything. Very practical instrument, and very beautiful also. Simple but perfectly made. And with very little weight, it has not much weight. It's very nicely, the setting is perfect, the setting. So, of course, more expensive guitars. I'm not saying that the top model is not better guitar than this, of course it is, but better guitar means what? Better guitar means that the sound has more quality. And why it may sound has more quality? Well, there are millions of factors. One is that the wood also, if you have a great premium wood aged 20 years and it's fantastic wood and it's greatly made also, because bad luthier, which are many around, the majority, can ruin even the best wood. They get the same mediocrity of outcome, a mediocre outcome. Why? Because it surpassed the level of what he can make. So all those factors, if it is spring or not, or summer or in the winter, all these things, humidity, like that. Like in Canada and Ireland, there is different climate, and in fact, there is one of these islands which have all the climates, from Hawaiian tropic to snow, like Canada. Teide, this, you know, the old bills of 1,000 pesetas, the reverse, it has this Teide thing. The mountain, they're very cold. The upper part, and when one goes down that mountain, it becomes like Hawaii, the climate. So therefore you can choose also different, it depends where it's built, everything will affect, right? But when the wood is very refined, out of the box wood, and rare, because wood is every day more difficult to get, say ultra quality sets of Brazilian rosewood like that, then that will change. In the proper hands will change the sound from this, and that's why the price cannot be same from one or the other. Price is irrelevant totally. It has nothing to do with quality. So because quality is another thing. There is no relationship of these two things. This guitar is inexpensive and still is great. Right? And now what to speak of the top model. So clear the sound. soft left hand flows like anything. There's this 0 fret, and look at the quality of how it's made this fretboard. The perfect alignation of the top in the fretboard. A great guitar, really. So thanks to AG for letting me do this first review. I hope they made many more. Because it happens to be that my favorite guitar, you know, is like this. Well, of course it has this port upper, but it happened to me to get it. The guitars are never, you don't choose a guitar really. Best guitars I have had, they came to me. For example, never planned, I will get Simplicio like this with Hawaiian core in the back and Coca-Cola Rosewood in the side, which is the case of that guitar, right? But I never thought that way, it just came to me. Then I played it and said, man, this is great. So it's the guitar that chooses you. Yeah, that's incredible. If you love instruments, then something happens there. And then the arrangement comes at you, it comes access to the instrument, and then eventually you can own it if you're lucky enough. Right? So this is all the review I will do now for this guitar. You see how it responds. You cannot compare any standard guitar with this. Not to speak of the other models. Another revision of the fretboard was done by AG recently. It was already perfect, but now it comes just a bit more exact and more accurate. I wanted to observe one thing. This guitar is a Eladio Fernandez 1942, which is he's the brother of Gerundino. So this guitar is the guitar of traditional guitars. Well, not to criticize anything, but I want you to observe something on the frets. Practically speaking, here you can see, let me show you the fret. For example, here the 10th fret, this is bigger than the 9th fret. The distance from here to here is bigger than that from here to here. So you see, this means it will not tune. The 12th is also bigger than the 11th, and here even more, the 13th is small, and the 14th is bigger than the previous one. Do you see it? Here is just totally, I mean, these things, guitars in Spain, they have all the time these problems, which means it will not tune well. Also here, if you observe, the 4th fret is actually bigger than the previous one. This is the B note. Sorry, this here, this is one, I mean. This fret, the 7th fret is bigger. This space from here to here is bigger than that from here to here, you see? So that is a problem. And now I want you to see the new fretboard AG has. And if you try to find anything, you will see how every fret is progressively with less distance. This is the beauty of this accuracy, which translates into an amazing tuning. If a guitar doesn't tune, or even worse, if we are used to guitars that do not tune and we think it tunes, that is even worse. But every fret has to be a smaller distance the more we go up in the sound and down in the physical aspect, because this is a fretboard that is totally important. It's very relevant. So if you take a look on any traditional guitar, will happen problems like that. Now I spot another. Yeah, this is 4th fret. This 4th fret is too big. So, but this, it's just like the inconsistencies on the distances from there, because sometimes very expensive guitars have these problems, right? And then it means that here there are inaccuracies in this. It means every note that you play after this mistake will be unbalanced and of course will be out of tune. So this is the great thing. Congratulations for that, and thank you so much for letting me enjoy the guitars and explain the wonderful things they have to offer to us players.